Hello. Hello. I'm going to call this meeting to order. We get a roll call vote, please.
Mayor Larry Milton.
Here.
City Administrator Kathy Stepp. Here. Alderman Ralph Wabonk.
Here.
Lane McConnell.
Here.
Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you. So on the agenda, we need to approve the minutes from the November 16th meeting. Everybody had a chance to review those? And if so, I would entertain a motion to approve.
Move to approve the minutes from last meeting?
Second.
We have a motion, a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Oh, this is a tough one. We'd like to take a moment of silence. Kirby recently passed away. He was with the city for 7 years, I believe.
Yes.
Dedicated employee. A great loss, so let's share a moment, please. Thank you.
I did want to share what administration had sent out to our city employees, just to give context to the public of a little bit about Kirby. He was a stormwater coordinator in the city's engineering department. He passed away at his home in Branson. He began his employment with us in April of 2016. Kirby was always out on the job sites checking erosion control measures and represented our city to the state for our MS4 permit requirements. And like all of us, there was so much more to him than just his job. Kirby enjoyed darts, trout fishing, and his recent hobby with his fish tanks. He was a carefree guy and enjoyed life to its fullest. He will be missed by his family and will live on in the hearts of his work family as well. Kirby was just a really good guy, and I've met with several employees, and he really meant a lot to the people that he worked with, and it's been quite a challenge for employees and just for all of us, as we're navigating through it. So I just wanted to take extra time today to honor his memory and make sure that everyone knows how important he was to us. So
Thank you for doing that, Kimberly. Next on the agenda is we'll get an update from our job fair that we had this week.
yes, so we had a job fair this week. It turned out to be a bigger success than we had anticipated, so that was very exciting. The booths looked really great. All of the departments put a lot of heart and soul into it. They had balloon arches and like Plinko and cornhole. We really tried to make it a fun night, and I think it was a success. The employees were, getting to take time out of their day to just remember what we do for the citizens. And so we had different boards of information, and we were able to present that well. They worked really hard. They had a lot of creativity. We did have several solid candidates that we're pretty excited about. We have at least a couple of groups. So Sonia worked really hard. She has busted her tail in the last, for a long time, but she really worked hard for this event. And she navigated all of the different people to the different departments that would connect with them. So she did a phenomenal job on that. And also all of the different departments that helped, they were very informative to the people that came in, and it was a good event. So we were excited about that.
Very nice. Next on the agenda is update on our director level job openings.
Yes, so for the director level job openings, the first one I was going to talk about was our human resources director. Obviously, that hits home in our department pretty hard. I met with several departments around the city to get feedback from them, to get information on what are we doing good? What do you want to make sure we keep in that director opening? And what are some challenges? What are things that we could do to improve? And I got a lot of really good feedback. The directors were very open and productive with their conversation with me, and I really appreciate that. And I think that we have really good feedback to be able to make a good decision. Jan had historically done a good job at listening to feedback and coming up with creative solutions to meet employees' needs when it came to different policies and things that came to his plate. He worked hard at being innovative with our city's benefit package, ensuring we had sustainable benefits that employees can enjoy for a long time. So what we plan to do is look for a director who is fiscally responsible and that can focus on the department's mission of recruitment and retention. That's one of our biggest concerns that we have is really making sure that we can not only recruit people, but we can keep them. And that's we're in the people business. So if we can focus on that and those goals, I think that we can really make a big headway in this organization. So that is our hope to find. We have some solid candidates that we plan to interview next week. So we're hoping to get a really great candidate from that and from their applications and resumes. That looks like we are in pretty good shape. We're pretty confident that we'll have a good candidate come from that. For the planning director, we had the interviews last Friday, and we've chosen a candidate, so that announcement will be coming soon. Then with our city attorney position, Baker Tilly has been doing that search for us, and I think Kathy said that we're supposed to be getting that packet soon, so we're hopeful to be moving forward with that. Our engineering and public works director, we've identified a candidate for that position as well, and that announcement will be coming in the near future, hopefully next week. And then our city clerk, she was appointed last night at the board meeting, so she's here. We're very excited about that. She's been dedicated for the last 15 and a half years. She's worked really hard alongside Lisa, and I think she's going to do a phenomenal job for this organization. So we're really excited about that news as well. Is there any questions that you all have for any of those updates?
Just a few comments. One, thank you for going to the directors and getting their input for our HR director. Thank you for doing that. I know the board hires our city administrator, and there was some discussion last night, and it was just overwhelming support for Hillary. And we look forward to, what did I say? You said city administrator. Oh, I guess I wasn't supposed to bring that up.
That was discussed last night, too.
I apologize, city clerk. Welcome,
They're
Hillary.
both blonde, you know.
And they're both powerful, strong, smart women.
They actually have matching shirts on today.
Oh,
Eggplant?
that's funny. Does the board have anything? Yes.
I know Kimberly won't do this on her own, so Kimberly, want to publicly thank you again, because Kimberly really legit jumped into the deep end of the pool and just took on the acting director role with enthusiasm and energy and calm. And I appreciate that so much. Her guidance, her discernment on selections and the advice that she's given me since she's taken on, actually beforehand too, but even more pronounced now in this acting role, has been so valuable to me, Kimberly. And I just want to thank you on behalf of all of the staff at City Hall for your past, for being an empathetic ear and yet providing clear direction to staff when they're uncertain about different routes to take. Your willingness to take on this role, even with a young family at home and a newborn baby at home. And I know she's not doing a great job of balancing work-life because it's not possible to do that all the way. But for everything that you give to the city every day and the late-night emails that you're responding to, we'll have another chat about a little bit more work-life balance. But I just want to thank you publicly for everything you've given and are going to continue to do going forward. You are a treasure to us. So thank you.
Thank you. I kind of feel like I'm more like the duck with the paddling as fast as I can and trying to look calm on the outside, and sometimes it does not come out calm. Trying to do what I can, so,
I have a question. You sure?
yes.
See how that worked?
Anything else you want to share?
That's it.
Wow. It's the shortest thing you've said since I've met you. Okay, thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is an update of our open positions.
Yes, so the city has 86 openings. We've
How many?
86.
Wow.
So we have quite a few. We're working diligently with the departments, trying to identify our priorities and fulfilling those. Part of my ideal, on paper, ideal thoughts of priorities and what's actually happening is not going quite as smoothly as I would like, just because out of panic, sometimes you're just like whatever's in front of you is going. So we're going to try to navigate that better. But we are working with the departments and trying to meet with them more often, and that's helping us get the right ones on top. We have a high turnover from last year, which is part of the reason for all of the openings. It was coined nationwide as the year of the Great Resignation. I think we plan to do a turnover report once we get our HR staffing, so that will help us really identify the logistics of some of those turnover issues and be able to curtail some of that. But some of the things that I've just seen in my position over the past year, my observations, we've been hit with a lot of different retirements that we knew for years were coming. People are getting to that point. They've reached the 80 and out. They've reached time to retire. So we knew those were coming. We've identified and we've tried to get a good succession plan in most of those retirements. And so those were coming and we knew about those. And then there's the work from home employers. So those employers are really, those kind of stung pretty hard this year. We had some really good employees that they had gone to work for employers that just are completely work from home, which I think came from the pandemic. All of the different organizations were competing not only locally, but with California employers and Chicago employers and all of these other employers that were able to pivot completely to work from home. So we're hoping to come up with some strategies this year to combat some of that problem. And then there are other ones that were just normal resignations that might come. But hopefully as we dig deep into that turnover report and meet with department heads and go over our exit interview data, we can come up with a solution that will identify some of these needs and see if there's something we can do to combat that. So that's one of our plans for this year. The other thing that we have is the 2023 positions. We had around 45-ish positions that were newly budgeted for this year. So that's where half of these openings are. So it is exciting, and I think that the new growth will also help us to be able to recruit, because it's not like we have all these openings because we're a terrible employer, it's because we're growing. And so that's always exciting, and it's a good selling point. People want to be part of something that is getting bigger and is improving. And so that's our goal, and our hope is to be able to use that as a strength. So some of our strategies that we have is, well, one, we did the citywide job fair, and that was a success. Sonia is going to several job fairs this coming couple of weeks, so she's still working super hard, obviously with this many openings, but she's been really great and doing a solid job. We are hoping to hire our HR analyst. We have those interviews are ending this week, so we hope to have that person hired and on board on Friday. Well, not hired yet, but the decision made on Friday. And so hopefully that person can come in, and they're gonna have a big focus on recruitment as well, and hopefully having fresh new ideas from that person will also help with our efforts in recruiting. We also, during that job fair, we had Melody went around and she took a lot of really great footage from the different departments and asked them what they liked about their job and what they're excited about with their job and different things like that. So Melody did a phenomenal job with that. She's got quite a couple of things on her plate, but she's planning on making that into some recruitment videos for us. So I was really thankful she was able to get the footage. So we're just working towards that. But those are just some of our ideas for the strategies this year. If you guys have any ideas that you can think of that were successful in your organizations, we'd be open to hearing about any of those. So
That's great news to hear what Melody is doing. It's a great idea. So compliments to Melody.
yeah.
Any comments?
One more thing I want to add on. I had challenged Kimberly and her team, and they have really risen to this challenge, by the way, of really thinking outside the box, not just typical government hours and government, robotic ways that, we employ people. And it's not just municipal government, it's all the way through different levels. And looking at the private sector to see what kinds of things that they're doing, because that's really who we're competing with, is the private sector on getting employees, and we all know how challenging that's been for a while now. So things like 7 days on, 7 days off, or 4 10-hour days instead of, working 5 days a week. And while it's challenging, because you can't really fully implement something like that until you're fully staffed at capacity so that everybody has those same opportunities, I'm going to be calling on staff to be, patient, because in order to get some folks in the door, you have to offer those kinds of opportunities to them. But again, once that time comes where we hit the capacity number where we need to be, we'll be able to offer that to everybody. So they have really been working hard. And Sonia, I got to tell you, I'm seeing so many emails. You are just clipping along on these hiring decisions. The other thing that they've done is they've trained different folks in each of the departments so that they can do their own interview processes. They're fully trained on how to do it appropriately. And that way we're not waiting on somebody from HR to be available to attend an HR interview. The biggest reason we lose really good candidates is because the private sector moves way faster. There's not these long, drawn-out times before decisions are made, or at least before an interview can even happen. And the other thing that we're doing is conditional offers of employment. So instead of saying, okay, yes, candidate, you've been selected, now you're gonna have to wait 2, 3, 4 weeks for a background check and fingerprint check, they're gone. They don't have time to wait that long. They gotta pay their bills. So we're doing conditional offers of employment, still doing the appropriate backgrounds. Again, this will depend on the position. Some are exceptions, obviously. But the great amount of the positions that we're looking to hire for now, they can start much sooner, get them going, get them into their jobs conditionally, so if something does come back that we don't like on a background check, then we can dismiss without any kind of burden to that. So thank you for you guys stepping up and looking at all the different opportunities that are out there in the private sector and public sector. Well done.
Kathy, that was real key. I know in the private sector and in my business and those that I visit with, an employee comes in, and if they're a good employee, I'm telling you, they are hired on the spot.
Yeah.
In my own business, we would have, say, applicants come in, and if it took us 2 or 3 days to respond to them, they were hired somewhere else. The job market is just so competitive. So that's probably a big key to help us fill these roles. Thank you.
Do you guys have a target deadline on, when at least half of the positions are gonna be filled? I mean, are you guys, forecasting that? And the only reason I ask is that's a lot of openings. It's a lot of other people doing a lot of extra work, and I know we wanna try to help as much as possible, but there's comes that time when it's like, we've gotta have other staff in there to do that job. So is there a target deadline?
I think we're hoping to be able to get that with, whenever we get our staff. We're hoping HR will be staffed sooner than later, and feedback on that, we can certainly look into that. We've been a little overwhelmed on our ends. There's been a lot going on in HR, and so it's been a challenge to be able to do all of the things on paper that sound really helpful. And so, but it's good to have those kind of ideas and thoughts of what worked, because then we're able to maybe put things on a timeline. So we'll certainly take that into consideration, and that could help us make sure that we're hitting milestones, so.
Great input. Anything else?
As far as job openings, like where would someone find a more comprehensive list? Like, because like just looking on the website, like there's just a limited, there's not 43.
Well, we have all of the ones that we're accepting applications for are online. We're working on, how many are?
Sonia, come on
You
down.
gotta come up to the mic.
Come on down.
If I gotta do it, you gotta do it.
Like the firefighter, firefighter's one of them, and obviously that's for the fire station. That's 13 openings, so.
Yeah, some of those, like police and dispatchers and firefighters, and they all have multiple openings. Like she said, just one firefighter posting equals 13 openings. Okay,
You had
and
mentioned
one,
like HR analysts and things like that, and I was like, I hadn't ever seen
yeah,
any
some of them
those
come
things.
down. They run for a certain amount of time. We do the interview, so they come off the website, but they're technically still open because we haven't filled it. So the open position stays on the list that Kathy and Kimberly are referring to, 86, until we have someone that has accepted the job offer, been through the background check, they have said they're going to start, they start their day, then that position comes off the list that isn't necessarily publicized, but the directors all know.
Okay.
Does that make
Well,
sense?
Yeah, and the reason I ask is because like I'm recruiting every day. Like when I find sharp people out in the community and I talk to them, like I tell them like, you want a great job, you need to work for the city. And then, try to get their interest, and then I, try to look on there and find out like, is there something that kind of matches them? But, I then refer them to the website but that's the thing, it's like, I just, from me, because, I mean, I meet some pretty sharp people, and some of them are very not happy in their current employment, and I think this is a great place to work. I tried to get hired last week, but Kimberly wouldn't have me.
Yes, but they have the website is a great tool, because that's where we're actually accepting those applications. The ones that aren't on there are the ones that either we have people in there or we aren't planned yet to hire them. Because we do have some of those new positions aren't on the plan for immediately right this second. So if people are looking for jobs right now, our website is kept up to date to those positions that we're accepting those applications.
So all the vacancies right now, or the openings, they're not available today.
Well, only some of them are the multiple jobs. A lot of them are. There's probably 20 or so that might not be on there because of either we have people kind of slotted for them and they're just kind of getting all of those approvals, or they could be some that we feel like to be able to train them and to be able to utilize them the best would be to wait maybe a month or two.
Okay.
Depending on the department's needs and desires for those positions.
But every position that we're looking for today is on the website, and like you said, there may be one listing, firefighter is an example, which there's 13 of those we're trying to
Right.
hire, yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple that, we're still working on getting posted, but we're getting a pretty good handle. Sonia's been doing a really great job. We don't have very many that are waiting on HR to get posted. But we have a couple that we still need to get out there, but.
Okay. Thank you, Sonia. Okay, next item on the agenda is an update of the city's staff and risk program. Is that Bob?
Good morning. I don't have slides for mine, okay, so the main thing that I do is to manage claims among a lot of HR stuff that I help with, so I'll give you kind of a claims update where we are right now. So we've got, and my claims year, just to remind everyone, it's July 1 to June 30. That's our insurance term for work comp and property liability. So right now, we have 12, we've had 12 work comp claims from July 1 to present. Last year at this time, we had exactly 12 claims as well. Now, historically, years ago, we had, at this time, we would have had 24. So we've cut our rates in half over time, but looks like we're starting to plateau a little bit. One thing about those 12 injuries, they're all between just 5 departments, and public safety kind of leads the way. But so that's those 12. Now, the claims cost of those 12 right now are $214,000. Last year, the 12 we had at this time, the cost was $344,000. So we've shown success there as far as less severe injuries. If we can't reduce the number, we want to reduce the severity as well. And so we have some successes there. Really, and I've mentioned this before, it comes down to orthopedic surgeries or not. And so we have only one orthopedic surgery so far. We've got another potential, but right now it's just one. So that's a success there. Property liability claims, we're looking at 13 right now, and we had exactly 13 last year too. So they haven't gone up. We've plateaued there as well. In general, severities are less too. Some of the things that we get in the property claims are, we do have a couple of backing incidents that our odds ran out on that one, I think, but we even had a guy using his mirrors, using the backup camera, and still hit a light pole. So I use that for training. This is why we don't want you to back up. And different odds and ends. We usually get at least one police officer gets bit by his dog once a year in training. That has already occurred this year. We have everything from, like I mentioned, backing into vehicles to failing to leave a truck in park and it rolls and damages a door and things like that. So really what's causing all that, and one of the things that we preach in our safety trainings is keep your eyes and your mind on the task at hand. As soon as your mind goes somewhere else, the unexpected happens. And that's easy to say, sometimes not as easy to do, especially if I'm a police officer on a scene and somebody runs off and I got to chase them. I'm likely to hop in my patrol car, put it in reverse, and not see that car sitting behind me. Things like that will happen from time to time. But what I can tell you is severity overall on those two are lower. The liability claims, we did have a police officer open a door and hit another car door. We did have a police officer back into another car. I'm not railing on police, it just happens to be those guys. It happens across other departments from time to time. And again, it's just a matter of where's my brain at that moment in time. So we also, things we're working on is we're currently managing a large hail damage claim that we have. You might remember the hailstorm we had here last August, and it took several months for the insurance company and their third-party adjusters to go through everything. We came and looked at your portion of the cost is the convention center. They had they've got a couple of huge chillers on top of their roof, and one of them all the condensers were exposed completely to the weather. It was pummeled to the point it has to be replaced, and that's the major cost of the claim. They've put aside, or they've adjusted about 700,000 of 900,000 for the convention center. The rest of the 200 is just for our locations. And not to say that every single thing is, we're gonna spend all that money, because they were very thorough. For example, the restroom at Alexander Park, it has a metal ridge cap. They found a few dents in that, so that's listed. So maybe we won't repair that, so that's all being looked at right now. Convention Center is going out for bid for what they need to do. Our roof was looked at yesterday by the company that did it originally. It may be under warranty, and there's a little bit of damage on the roof at Station 1, for example. And so that's all being looked at. We're managing that. Also, we're managing the Recplex claim, which is going to come in about $250,000 to replace the gym floor, hallway flooring, and carpeting, and some drywall that they had to take out where the water was seeping up. If you're not aware, we did have some water damage out there in December. And so we're working that one right now too. Also, for safety training, February is Heart Month. I trust everybody survived yesterday. I was in line at a flower shop with a bunch of other guys last night, but we made it. And but anyway, that being said, we're doing hands-only CPR training with all the departments. We're going to schedule the council chambers a session or two to allow employees that we don't normally get in front of to be able to come and do that and be refreshed on hands-only CPR. And so you might recall that incident that happened in the NFL a few weeks ago. It's a prime example of how important that is. We're doing that. Next month, our wastewaters start using chlorine again, and so we do a big chlorine training, classroom and hands-on, how to repair leaks in chlorine containers and things like that. That's coming up. In our safety committee, I've got some real encouragement there. It's taken a while, but we're able to establish and get trust that it's a safe safety zone, that people can bring safety concerns there. And so we had some great discussion yesterday on some safety concerns that they helped make us aware of just in our recent snow plowing event. And so we're planning on a big after-action review with snow plowing and address some of those concerns. And there were some other concerns, but it's a safe safety zone, so I don't want to talk about all of those things here in public to kind of maintain that trust. But it's great. Also, I have encouragement in our near-miss program. I started that a couple years ago, and a near-miss program is people reporting to us, this just about happened but didn't. We're getting more and more of those. And I'm all about the proactive indicators rather than the lagging indicators. I don't like to come in here and tell you what has happened, but we've got employees out there looking for things and finding them, reporting them, addressing them, or giving them to us to help address. So that's very encouraging. Our fire extinguisher and AED monthly inspection program has resulted in finding a couple of fire extinguishers that needed help and finding 2 AEDs that needed batteries. So that's been very important in keeping up with those. We recently submitted our compliance to the Tier 2 program with DNR, and that is a program where we've got to report all of our hazardous chemicals, where they're stored, how much is stored, and it's something that has to be done by March 1st every year. So we've already completed that for this year. That's one of the things a safety guy gets to do. So we work with utilities and public works and all of that. So that's been done. And another risk management thing I do is an annual workplace harassment training for all employees. And our deadline is next Friday to complete some online training for that. And we are at 85% in at this point. So almost everybody's got that finished already. My focus this year going forward is to focus more than we have in the past on health and safety, and to try to educate our employees on how health relates to safety and how health is so important, so that trying to get people to think long-term. I started in orientation, think a whole career here, and choices that you make when you're younger in your career will either haunt you or benefit you later. We want you to make choices that will benefit you later. In the process of all that, studies will show that you are safer and you will have less or no injuries, and that's our goal. So that is my report today. Any questions?
Wow, what a great report. There's much more on your plate than most people would think. And from those that have communicated with me, you're getting a thumbs up from a lot of people here at City Hall, so.
Oh, good to know, because when I come in and my injuries are still there, I just go, well, I'm trying. But it's not up to me, it's up to our employees, and they're doing a
Sure.
great job overall.
Well, I think the leadership that you're taking is displayed in the results that you're sharing. Any other comment? Yep, Kathy?
Just one more comment. Last night at the Board of Aldermen meeting, I was congratulating and thanking Cindy Shook for all the extra work and time and energy and angst that she's putting into dealing with the insurance companies on the Recplex issues. And Bob, you have been right beside her in that effort, and I just want to thank you for that, because without having real advocates who are looking at the loss as if it happened to their own home, we wouldn't see such progress and cooperation, and I use the term lightly, from the insurance companies. So thank you so much for being willing to take on some of those Goliaths, because it can be a daunting task, but you guys are doing really, really well together, so thank you for that.
Oh, thank you.
Bob, thank you very much for your report.
Thank you.
Did have one quick report that I noticed Jennifer came in, and I just wanted to thank her. She is been named our acting planning director until we can get the planning director on board, and she's done a phenomenal job, and I just wanted to publicly thank her for being willing to fill into that position as well, because working as acting is not always easy. So I really appreciate her efforts and leadership in that role.
Very nice. Thank you, Jennifer. So we are in the report section of the meeting. Are there any reports you'd like to update? Nope. Well, hearing that, 45 minutes into this meeting, very good. Bob, thank you very much for that thorough update. Hearing nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. You need to tell that.
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. The meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much.